today we're going to be talking about some stuff that we'll get into when we get to it. Just trust me, this is a special one. So, how about we get right into it then and see what we have here. So, character backgrounds and Spearman. Nice. Character backgrounds have, of course, been rather an issue with Invictus. It's a fantastic idea that has, unfortunately, been kind of laggy for a lot of people, having to load these reasonably large images anytime they open the character screen, or hopefully they've figured a way of making that less of an issue. So we'll see. Anyway. Salvete. Today we'll be talking about character backgrounds and Spearman content. GMB 360 will start today's dev diary with some changes that they've made to performance improvements, as well as some new juicy artwork for character backgrounds. Credit for the art goes to Nerdman3000. You might all remember from the first dev diary where he introduced you to the background system, and now he'd like to inform you readers on some changes that they have made. This part might get a little technical, but nevertheless, it is interesting, so hopefully everyone will understand that there have been some problems. So, we'll see. Apparently, coding decisions by Paradox make it awkward. It is what it is. So, the team are heavily advised to avoid using GUI scripts when coding GUI features. Reason for this is the GUI scripts are known in the modding community to destroy the performance by a lot. It means that when writing code for character backgrounds, you can't use some variables and checks and needs to use the GUI syntax of Paradox. This leads him to having to find workarounds for many issues, which can lead to long code lines, something that heavily decreases the mod's performance. How to solve it? Well, the team have decided to simplify some of the features of our so-called background system. The background system, by the way, is when your character, for example, we've got Ptolemy Soter here, is in Alexandria, it will show the Lighthouse of Alexandria. When he's in Memphis, it will show the Sphinx and the pyramids. If he marches his way over to Babylon, he will see the Hanging Gardens of Babylon in the background. It's kind of interesting and really cool, and I really like it, but yeah, it's been quite laggy for a lot of people. But it has been somewhat reduced in complexity. The code length has been heavily reduced, which resulted in a slight performance increase. It can mainly be explained due to the reduction in RAM usage. The testers have seen increases of around 15% at all times, and additionally, the character screen RAM spike is much better. Some of you might have noticed that when opening the character screen, the game takes a few seconds to load all the character backgrounds. The issue is now slightly improved, though they think that some slight improvements to the code can be made to fully fix the issue. For now, you'll have to live with around 10% increase in performance. Big thanks to Demenitive, who tested around with the performance, and Matt the Lego for advising us on which tile fipe to use. Sure, we'll go with it. Unfortunately, for the performance fix, they've had to remove a feature of the background system. For example, characters will no longer receive the background of a province when standing on top of said province with an army, which is a shame. It is very much a shame, but the game was unplayable for some people with weaker computers, and even for people who had strong computers, the performance hit was noticeable enough to be an issue. Certainly an issue. So, what has been changed? Obviously, we've got Ptolemy here, and he is stood in, it's the one north of Memphis, Babylon Egyptu, which is where the pyramids actually are in the game. So, he's here, and he's got, looks like a throne room, to be honest, which is a little bit of a shame. As you can see in the picture, Ptolemy is leading an army in Memphis. That's not true. He's in Babylon Egyptu. Whatever, which previously would have given the Memphis background. This is no longer the case, and now only the Wharton background will be shown. The removal of the feature is heavily reduced the length of the code, which, as mentioned before, will bring a performance increase. Furthermore, the code has been reworked in a way that will facilitate the implementation of new backgrounds. So as long as our artist continues to do a great job, we'll have plenty of character backgrounds being implemented much quicker. Now we'll take a look at some of the new backgrounds that have been implemented. So for Carthage, there is the Kothon behind. You can vaguely see over the buildings that is the Kothon in the background there. The war tent. That's what it's war tent. War tent background. Yeah, no, I get it. Okay, fair enough. It's a war tent background with spaces. And there is the war tent background for Carthage, with the lovely Carthaginian shield in the background. Very nice indeed. We have Rhodes with the Colossus in the background. That's kind of cool. It's a shame that the head kind of literally covers the very, like, the only thing that is remarkable about Rhodes. Like, the thing that signifies, oh yeah, this could be any Greek city. That's Rhodes, right? We've got the Temple of Artemis there as well. There's the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus. We've got Jerusalem with the Temple on the Rock is what I think it's called, but I can't be sure. Lovely stuff. We have Stonehenge. It's gorgeous as always. We have Paliputra. And there is the war tent background for the Marians as well. Very nice indeed. With that, he'll conclude his part of the Dev Diary. Expect all the new backgrounds and the performance increases to be part of the new big update that there is coming up. That comes out on the 10th of November. And Parsable is coming back, so some more content on spears. The initial balancing is not 100% done, and they're not even in a decent testing phase. Once they hit the internal deadline, testers may reign free. Okay, lovely. A handful of people raise concerns about the name Spearman, which is a good sign that you really want this unit to work out. However, I find it easier to use alongside giving the unit more niche use. If you label and to handle the unit as Spearman rather than medium infantry, if we are to label something along the lines of medium infantry, we just made a 360 turn and still face the problem that infantry is too broad a phrasing for ancient warfare. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think my issue here, my issue with Imperator's units is that heavy infantry fought so very differently to, let's say, like the Roman legionnaire, using a gladius and a I can't remember what the name of the shield is, but let's call it a tower shield. Fought very, very differently to a Athenian hoplite. Right? Fought very, very differently. I would argue they fought more differently than what, like an armed rabble, right? A peasant mob that's been armed with weapons and armor fought from, Roman infantry. So there is, that's what I would consider light infantry, right? Some very lightly armored, fast-moving, lightly armed as well, a mix of different weapons, be it swords, spears, whatever, all in like one kind of mob, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking of when I think of light infantry. There's some mix of spears in there, there's a mix of swords in there, but they don't fight as a cohesive, like, regimented, drilled unit, is how I see it, right? They fight differently to heavy infantry, which is, regimented, drilled, short sword, maybe, other various weapons, but not pikes, not spears, not sarissas, that kind of thing, right? They fight very differently from those, and then they both fight very differently from the hoplite, from the phalanx. And having phalanx infantry and heavy infantry kind of like in the same category kind of takes away from a big part of the game, which is, the Greek world, arguably even more fleshed out than the Roman world. So definitely I think there is something missing there. And I know that there's going to be some people like, but blah, 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 blah. I don't care, right? There's never going to be a perfect breakdown of unit types. It's probably not even possible, but I do believe having a distinction between Roman heavy infantry and Greek heavy infantry is important, and not just via modifiers, right? Another handful of people raised concerns about the cultural names, especially in the name Hoplite from the previous post. Yet again, the internal name would be Spearman, while the cultural distinctive name refers to your unit in another way. Simply means that if they're all the same unit, just adding another layer of flavour on top of them. A Roman cultural name will be distinctive from a Persian or a Carthaginian name, so you get more bang for your buck or flavour for your experience in this case. Roman name, Triarii. Triarii still use spears, so now you've got your Triarii, and you can also have your Principe. Perfect. Done. Sorted. Nailed it, in fact. I don't see a problem with that. I really don't. And considering you can put, you put your Spearman on the back line, put your triarii on the back line, kind of like the way that the Romans fought, you know? The spearmen only got involved when when shit was really fucked. So definitely I'm in favor of this change. That's his 2 cents, and I've given you my 2 cents as well. If you want a more elaborate answer, he'll reply another comment. Alright, fair enough. To get back to the topic, the last 2 weeks have been rather boring, especially in the field of testing units. Numerous times he's adjusted unit efficiencies, morale damage taken, modifiers, and more, just to bash units against one another. Still not satisfied with the results, there's not much to show off. However, there's some exciting things to show off. He successfully created a new trait, being handed out the same way as other military-related traits. Comradely. Right, it's still called Chariot. He's not changed. The Chariot was replaced by the Spearman, so that's why it's like, well, why are we giving Chariot stuff when you're talking about spears? No, it's not. It's just not the localization hasn't changed to spear discipline and spear defense. Defense spelled wrong. Okay, cool. That's cool. It's a new trait. That's good. Just a quick and easy trait to give frequent spear users more military options. This trait mimics the legate's comradely attitude by fighting alongside his battle brethren. The icon for such a trait is still mission, but here they are. Alright. Next on the list will be a corresponding Legion distinction for spear users. The game features many distinctions for many matchups and terrain boni, so the Invictus team should capitalize on those as well with a new unit. He's open for name suggestions, figuring the game already has a Silver Shield distinction. The current name is a mere placeholder, so called Sarissa at the moment. So discipline, offense, and defense. That's a really powerful bonus. Really, like that's one you're going to be wanting to really go for. I'm kind of okay with it. Just as a quick note, he didn't bother creating all the modifiers for Spearman, so the recycled placeholder images for now. Yeah, makes sense. Lastly, he'd like to showcase some reworked military traditions. There's much to be done with these, but he's fairly sure he can push most content within the next big patch. So, modernized phalanx will give more offense. That's in the Greek Palais traditions. Love it. Fantastic stuff. And then the Sarissa is Spearman morale. Interesting that like people would have to like get this. Like the Macedonians and the successor states basically would all kind of already have the Sarissa. Really, some traditions should already be unlocked by various countries at game start. I don't know if that's possible, but it'd be nice to be like, alright, all of the Diadochi start with the Sarissa. And then you could have the Romans starting with something, you could have the Athenians starting with something. Like, you go around and give various traditions. Doesn't have to be a line 2 here, just this one. And if you want to get this, you'd have to get this one first. That kind of thing would be really nice to see. Really giving these countries kind of like a bit of background flavor as well. It's like, oh, these guys already have the Sarissa. Why that? So I like that idea. I don't know if it's possible, but, you know, maybe something to think about. Yet again, no edited Spearman modifiers as yet, but worry not, the good old Chariots agreed to let their art be used in today's dev diary. Absolutely no Chariots were harmed in the process of writing this up. Shame. Just, you know, scrap wood. Perfect. Get rid of it. It's garbage. So, there is more to come, though. This is not the end of the dev diary, because I've been given some preliminary patch notes with which to share with you on this auspicious day about the update that's coming on the 10th of November. So how about we get on that? Here they are. I don't know how well you can actually read them, but it's fine. I will read them out for you. So these are the preliminary patch notes. These are not the final ones that will be going in. So just bear that in mind. So new content. The map has been expanded in Kush and Nubia, Cyrenaica and Libya. We've seen that. Generic mission tree for going independent. Seen that. Added mission tree to Kush and Judea. Partial mission tree for Cyrenaica. Mission trees for the Tamil Kings. Flavor and events to Kush and Nubia and Tamil Kings. Lots of content to Judea. Heritages for 50 plus nations. Cultural inventions to the 50 plus nations kind of all felt like the same dev diary where I had to just give up halfway through because it was taking too long. The one for Anatolia is crazy long. Culture inventions for Anatolia, Mesopotamia, Arabia, and more. Gallic Smith mechanics for Gallic nations. Per a neighboring city, a settlement gains 4 extra civilization capacity. That's really nice. I don't know, it's not capacity, it's like a level, civilization level. But yeah, that's really handy, getting that extra bit of civilization boost if you are next to a city. And then, surround a settlement by cities, and that settlement is getting civilization from them. That's really nice. Mechanic for gaining inventions as tribes by sacking. It's almost in the game already as you get it's invention progress, research progress when you sack. It's kind of shit though, not gonna lie. I would totally do it by if you as a tribe siege a city, you get a chance of a breakthrough, right? That kind of would be nice. It'd be a small chance because there's a lot of cities in like Italy or whatever, but that would be really nice. I also really like the idea that was briefly in the multiplayer overhaul mod, where if a tribe was trading with a civilized nation who was ahead of them in tech, there was a chance for a breakthrough from that as well. That I really like. Not a breakthrough, but like a tech chance. Like, oh, you've been trading for 5 years. Well, then there's 50 military points. That was really nice, and I kind of wish that had stuck around. Whatever. Code rework to the Hellenistic Empire tree. Good stuff. The Hellenistic Empire tree is really irritating because it feels like it's almost so amazing, and then it turns out to be a massive nerf to do the big climactic fuck yeah moment of like, yeah, we are now Hellenic, we're not individuals, and it turns out you've got like 50 Hellenic pops out of 10,000 pops, and it's just awful. It's absolutely terrible. So that changing is real nice. Obtaining military traditions count all pops from all integrated cultures instead of just one. This should have been in the fucking base game when the culture rework came out. Honestly, it's madness that it wasn't. I honestly thought it was until I tried it and couldn't do it. I was like, oh, I didn't have enough, I don't know what it was, like Lepontics, right? I didn't have enough Lepontics to get my Gallic traditions as Rome. So you know what, it's fine, I'll just get the Helvetians as well. It's like, no, you can't add them up. They have to be of an individual culture. It's dumb, it's stupid. So, yeah, no, that's fantastic change. Slave revolts now cannot happen in the first 10 years of the game. Good. They require less than 15% happiness, so you know how to, prevent them if you need. Change the conditions for the Israel formable, made Emperor's Tree more sensible with requirements, and give satraps instead of client states. That's, excuse me. I'm not sure of the differences between satraps and client states. I know they both give, they both take a relation slot, but I'm not sure why that is changed. I don't know what the benefits are. I'll have to look it up. And they've also prevented the Seleucid AI from declaring war manually for the first year to fix the edge case with the Diadochi War. Good. And become an empire mission as Rome easier, so you're more likely to see the unique flavor events and the Roman Civil War. But that's not all, because there's also some bug fixes. So let's go through these as well. Fixed missing icon spamming the error log, duplicated events like Alexander's Grave, fixed wrong names for characters, infinite money glitch with bankruptcy buttons, Seleucid missions now check the right territory for the Mediterranean capital, Irish Albion formable not always appearing, fixed a localization bug with tech spread event, conditions for the mummification decision, the Macedonian missions to become are more consistent. Slave raiding not always being enabled due to a vanilla bug. Hellenistic Empire tree not giving correct primary culture. Hellenistic Empire subjects deleting modifiers. Antagonids no longer collapse when making Corinth a subject. That really annoyed me. That almost ruined my world conquest run, if I'm being honest. Thankfully it didn't. We managed to, get around it. Thracian mission tree edge cases and sensibilized requirements. So you no longer need to fight Athens to finish your first mission tree, which is, Athens being a subject of the Antagonids is like, yeah, you have to fight them for your first ever mission tree. It's like, nah, that's kind of silly. Capua is back in Capua, fixed a bunch of small items causing problems, missing Regency code for Tainists, and fixed broken Armenian capital modifier. But that's not all, because we also have some general changes. Rework the AI based on Glavius's work. Glavius AI is awesome and should be used because it's great, makes the AI much more capable. Makes game harder as well, so just bear that in mind. Reworked the unit balance, changed the price of certain trade goods to nerf commerce for non-commercial states. Reworked buildings completely, enabled very severe winters, improved performance with food code, reworked Indian cultures, reworked Arabia with new pop amounts, setups and inventions, renamed Palestine region to Canaan, reworked the Germanic nation setup, reworked nation borders surrounding Germania, Scythian nation setup, and Sardinian nation setup, added tons of new Germanic nations, translated a lot more content to Spanish and to German, finished the French translation, made it so you can't spy on people through player map mode. Good. That makes Invictus multiplayers a bit more possible, or competitive multiplayers, I should say. Improved the localization for Carthage, removed spec characters from province names. Sorry, special characters. Yeah, there was a time when Invictus was like, oh, we should totally add the absolute accurate provincial names and territory names, including special characters like umlauts and accents and shit. And it meant you couldn't with a standard like British keyboard or American keyboard or what the fuck ever. You know, keyboards that don't have these characters. It meant that you couldn't just search with like, you know, E with an accent couldn't be found with just the E key, which was a little bit silly. And I know it's like, oh, you can just use the Unicode thing. Bitch, no one has time for that. No one has time to learn all the Unicodes. That's just not going to happen. Just shut up, sit down. It's not going to happen. I mean, I have a Swedish keyboard, so I've got like OAÖ and stuff. But like even then, I don't want OAÖ in my fucking province names. When I'm trying to search for something fast, I want to just use the normal keys. So yeah, the silly idea. It's now been fixed. Good. Reworked tribal sacrifice and added more variety to female Egyptian names. And then finally, there is some balance changes as well. The Roman AI is smarter, better, and scarier. They allow primary heirs to do anabasis. That is the process of moving your... Well, now it's primary heirs, not just your ruler, but it was just your ruler moving to the provincial capital of a disloyal province. Click a button, spend some political influence, and there was an instant loyalty boost and a plus 25, I think, plus 0.25 per month loyalty increase for, I want to say 12 or 18 months. I can't remember which one it was. So that's really nice that primary heirs can now do it as well. That's awesome. It means that it's a lot easier to do it with legions, because it was really kind of impossible to do it with legions before. At least in vanilla, there was... I don't know if the mod for rulers leading legions is in Invictus. It should be, but I'm not 100% on that one. Made assaults do 25% more damage. I assume that is to the assaulters. Slaves distribute over 5 provinces instead of 3. Good. So when you're taking slaves, they move around a little bit more. Made it so you can't seize estates from very disloyal people, and then I don't see why you would ever do that anyway. Whatever. And then finally removed levy size modifiers from heritages because it's probably the most impactful modifier in the game. So yeah, keeping it out of heritages is kind of a big deal. But yeah, that's it. Those are your patch notes. These are just preliminary. There may be more. There's probably a much more in-depth patch notes thing for like 200 pages of absolute insanity. And this update comes out on the 10th of November. So let me know in the comments what nation you think I should play for the release, for Invictus's release on the the 10th. It's not the release, it's like the update, right? The update's release on the 10th. What nation should I play? What we should campaign, right? So let me know what you think I should play. Let me know what you think of Invictus, who you plan to play, and I will see you guys in the next one. Toodles, bye-bye.